We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Lastly, we're going to answer Jim's question. Jim here.
Wow.
Yes, we are. We're going to power through it. Jim has heard us recommend diagonally opposite placement of two subwoofers, but he still wants to verify this theory for himself. He's a little bit unclear as exactly what he's listening for, though. Let's say you position the two subs in diagonally opposite corners. You level match them, and you get them crossed over to the speakers properly. Now you turn one of them off. If you place a single test tone that he knows creates a standing wave in his room, he should be able to walk around his room with just one subwoofer playing and hear that tone fluctuate in level based on his one position in the room. Correct? Now, if he has both subwoofers playing, and that same test tone should sound more consistent in level when he walks around his room. Is that right? Is that all there is to it? So if he's got one tone that he knows creates a standing wave in his room,
right,
and he puts it on with the one subwoofer, and then diagonally opposite corner, the cancellation should be better. I mean, he should hear less variance as he's walking around. Does that mean he'll hear no variance? No.
It does not mean that. No.
It means that he'll hear less, or the variance will be less dramatic. So the nulls will be less nully, and the peaks will be less peaky.
Yeah.
But
so with the one
even.
sub just playing one test tone that he knows creates a standing wave, he will go to some spots in his room and it will be deafeningly loud, and he will go to other spots in his room and it will be silent.
Yes.
And some people might be thinking, well, that's not possible. There's no way that is possible.
Not only possible, it is absolutely what happens, yes.
It is absolutely what happens. You play the second subwoofer, it's across the room from the first one, and you will still find pockets in your room where you might hear next to nothing, and you will still find pockets in your room where it is very, very loud. The two subwoofers can't get rid of every trace of that standing wave just by being across the room from another, but largely that effect will be reduced. However, that isn't really the way I would ask somebody to confirm this approach to setting up subwoofers.
No. But
I would ask you to play a sweep.
Right.
Not just a single tone.
I knew you were going there. The fact of the matter is that answering the question the way it was asked, he's not. He is understanding the concept. It's just that it's not an on-off binary thing. It's not like you put the second subwoofer on and everything sounds exactly perfect. It's not the way it works. What it does is it smooths everything out a little bit. And that's what we're going for here.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, if you want to visualize it, imagine that you are dropping a stone into a pond over and over in the exact same spot in the pond, right? Mm-hmm. And so you get the exact same waves up and down, up and down. So if you looked at just where the trough in the wave is, if you're dropping the same stone in the same spot in the pond over and over, you'll see that trough is always there. And that's going to be the silent place in your room. And the crest of the wave is always in the same spot. That's going to be the super loud part. Now, if you start dropping more stones in multiple places, you'll see that the waves get more jumbled, right? Where they're crossing over each other. It's not that there are no places that are still more peaky than others, and that there are no places that are still more troughy than others, but it's a more jumbled wave pattern that happens. And that's really what's going on there too. But that is the one tone being played all by itself. So then we would ask you to play a sweep, because that gives you a much better idea of what we're actually trying to achieve with the two subs.
Right. So yes, what about the volume level? The same test tone, it should be 3 dB louder with both subs playing versus just one, correct? Technically what happens when you turn off one of your subs is you lose 3 dB, and when you turn them both back on, because you've said you've level matched them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna the volume level in the room will go down by 3 dB.
Yeah.
So,
but of course, the caveat to that is, in the places where it used to be silent, and now it's no longer silent because you have two, there could be much more than 3 dB above silent.
Yes.
And in the places that it was deafeningly loud, and now you've cut that down a whole bunch, it could be much, I mean, it's not 3 dB louder than deafeningly loud. It's actually much quieter in that spot. So
Right.
that's the big caveat to that statement. But yeah, going back to the sweep, what you're hoping to hear is you play the sweep through one subwoofer by itself. So it's just the bass of do, do, do on repeat. And as you walk around your room, you will hear that sweep sounding like a roller coaster, and it'll be a different roller coaster in different spots. You'll hear that thing and it'll get louder at some frequencies, quieter at others. And the frequencies where it's louder and quieter will change depending on your position in the room. Now you play the second subwoofer, so both subwoofers playing at the same time in mono, playing that same sweep, and that evens out considerably around your room. There'll still be some places in your room that are different, but if most of your seats are sort of in the middle of your room area, from seat to seat, there'll be much less variation in that sweep. And that gives you a much better idea because, of course, the content you're listening to isn't just a single tone. The content you're listening to is multiple different bass notes at different times. And the idea is that from seat to seat to seat, you have less variation so that everybody who's listening to the movie or listening to the music is getting a similar experience. Why should one person be hearing totally different bass on one side of the couch from the person sitting on the other side of the couch? That's the idea.
Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.